मदिरहे नष्टप्राहेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेव्या भागवते उत्तमा श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6. The chapter is titled Dhyana Yoga. Text number is 41. प्राप्य पुण्य कृतम लोकान उषित्व शाश्वत समा शुचिनाम श्रीमताम गेहे योगो भ्रष्ट अभिजायते. प्राप्त पुण्य कृतम लोकान उषित्व शाश्वत समा शुचिनाम श्रीमताम गेहे योगो भ्रष्ट अभिजायते. प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्व शाश्वत समा शुचिनां श्रीमन्तां गेहे योगो भ्रष्टो अभिजायते. Anybody else would like to chant?
Any Prabhuji wants to go?
Okay, it's Mataji's turn.
Okay. प्राप्य पुण्य कृतां लोकान् उषित्वां शाश्वता समा शुचिनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगो भ्रष्टाभिजायते.
प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्वा शाश्वती समा शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते.
Prapya, after achieving punyakritam of those who performed pious activities, lokan, planets, ushitva, after dwelling, saswatah, many, shamah, years, suchimam, of the pious, srimatam, of the prosperous, gehe, in the house, yoga brashta, one who has fallen from the path of self-realization, abhijayate, takes his birth. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The unsuccessful yogis, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Please repeat. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment,
after many years of enjoyment
on the planets of the pious living entities,
on the planets of pious living entities,
is born into a family of righteous people, or into a family of rich aristocracy. The unsuccessful yogis are divided into two classes. One is fallen after very little progress, and one is fallen after long practice of yoga. The yogi who falls after a short period of practice goes to the higher planets, where pious living entities are allowed to enter. After prolonged life there, one is sent back again to this planet to take birth in the family of a righteous Brahmana, Vaishnava, or of aristocratic merchants. The real purpose of yoga practice is to achieve the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the last verse of this chapter. But those who do not persevere to such an extent and who fail because of material allurements are allowed by the grace of the Lord to make full utilization of the material propensities. And after that, they are given opportunities to live prosperous lives in righteous or aristocratic families. Those who are born in such families may take advantage of the facilities and try to elevate themselves to full Krishna consciousness. Let's repeat the words again. Prapya punya kritam lokhan usitva sasvata samaha suchinam shimantam gehe yogo prasto abhijayate. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sanakaya Chakshurmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manabhistam Sabitam Yena Bhutale Swamarupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Mandeham Shigro Sijita Padakamalam Shigurum Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pariyana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vaisya Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the past living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Suchinam Simantam Kehe Yogo Brasto Abhijayate. So here, the Supreme Lord is answering to Arjuna's question. What happens to a yogi who has started on this path of self-realization, but in between he gets materially allured and gives up this path? He is thinking that, he is neither be materially prosperous because he started this spiritual path, and now somewhere in between he has stopped his spiritual path, so neither is going to be spiritually successful. So what happens to that person? In fact, Arjuna compares by his own thoughts, is comparing that person as a raven cloud, like a small cloud trying to merge, a cloud trying to merge a small cloud, but is not able to merge, and then it's withered away by the wind. withered away by the wind. So it's like a ribbon cloud. So Arjuna is comparing that yogi to a ribbon cloud, and but then he's mentioning that, means if at all someone can dispel the doubt to be Lord Krishna, um, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he had also accepted him as a spiritual master. Kalpana dosa pata sabhava prichhami tvam dharma samuda cheta. Yet Shreyasyan Nishitan Bhuvitan means Shishyate Ham Sadhimam Tam Prapala. In the second chapter, he accepted Krishna as a spiritual master. And the Lord further mentions in the second chapter, Natveham Jatu Nasam Natve Neme Janatim Paha. What is that? Natveham Jatu Nasam Natve Neme Janati Pava Na Chaivam Na. Second chapter, 11th verse. Na Chaivana Bhavishyama Sarvam Vayam Ataparaham. Right? Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor all these kings, nor in the future any of us will cease to be. Right? And in that purpose, I was mentioning that yes, the kings were present in the past also, and they're present in the future also, and the Lord is also present for times. But the kings do not remember the previous births, but the Lord remembers everything. And since the Lord remembers the past, present, and the future, is completely cognizant of the past, present, and future, is full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of eternality, then the right authority where Arjuna thinks that the Lord will be able to dispel the doubt, because he will know about the fate of that unsuccessful yogi. And Lord Krishna mentions that in the previous verse as well as in this verse, the fate of that unsuccessful yogi. And Ramasi is giving an encouraging words that the unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planet of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So, Srila Prabhupada and Baldev Vidyabhushan also in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he compares that, okay, he divides these yogis into two classes. One who has just practiced little bit and then given up the practice of yoga due to material allurements. And another yogi who practices a lot but is not fully able to complete. Right. In the second chapter, we see Nihabhi Kraman Aswasti Pattavayana Vidyatenas Salpavi Nihabhi Kraman Aswasti Pattavayana Vidyate Swa Alpamapi Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. There is no loss or diminution in this path. Right? There is no loss or diminution in this path. And we see here, where Sri Prabhupada is mentioning that the unsuccessful yogi, right, there are only two classes. One is who is born after very little progression. One is born after long practice of yoga. So that who is fallen after just a little practice of yoga, to that person also, if he is materially allured and is attracted to material propensity, the Lord bestows mercy on him, right, and gets him a place in heavenly planets where there are more facilities to fulfill his material propensities. More facilities to fulfill his material propensities. So that he can completely enjoy till he is tired of sense enjoyment. Till he becomes completely tired of sense enjoyment, and then he comes back into this Martya Loka, earthly planet. And when he comes back, where does he come? He comes into a family of Suchinam, highly elevated family, or Shimantam Haji, wealthy family, aristocratic family. So he does not, when he takes birth, he does not have to start completely from ABCD. He starts from where he had left, right? A person who takes birth in a wealthy family, he does not have to think about, oh, where my livelihood is going to come from, right? The facilities are provided to him. Or additionally, if he is born into Suchinam, highly learned family, right? He is not taught how to, perform sinful activities, but instead he is taught from the very beginning, on subjects on transcendental matters, on spiritual matters. So his inclination from where he had left before, he starts his practice again. No, starts his practice again. So the since the Lord says there's no loss or diminution, that devotional practice which he performed is never lost. It does not come to a slate zero if he is not able to complete. Then he starts from that particular aspect. And we see many times a devotee, it's a person born, a soul born into a devotee family, um, is born while the devotees are chanting, while he's even in the womb. We see in Arjuna's case, Abhimanyu learned about the science of warfare, Chakravyuh, right when he's in the womb. Prahlad Maharaj, right when he's in the womb of Kayadu, right? He's hearing about transcendental subject matters from Narad Muni. So that when he is born, even at the age of 5, he's telling his friend, don't waste your time in this frivolous sports. This life is very, very rare. Human birth is very, very rare to begin with. Don't waste your time. Right. That's no. That comes because of previous practices or that pious credits. Not only pious credits, the spiritual credits, which we accumulated from the previous life. Right. And we see how he takes, no, is able to take full advantage of that as soon as being born in the devotional family. Now, in case of Prahlad Maharaj, is born in a demoniac family, right? But he is very fortunate to have association of Narad Muni right within when he's in the womb. So even when he's taking birth, he's able to carry all that fully surcharged devotional practice or devotional instructions which he got while he was in the womb. Right. That he is even able to challenge servitor mode. His father that, ultimately everything comes from Lord Vishnu. We need to serve Lord Vishnu. Right. And he's completely focused from the start in the devotional practice. Right. Yeah. So that's his case. Like, or similarly, a person born in a wealthy family, he does not have to think about where his livelihood is going to come from. Right. And possibly, he will have a better chance to immediately get connected in some form or other to the Supreme Lord and coming in contact with some devotees of the Supreme Lord. Right. Yeah. Okay. So there is no loss or diminution in the path of performing this yogic practice. Like here, performance of Ashtanga yoga is there. That is so difficult of this eightfold mystic yoga process, starting with yam, niyam, asana, right, and then going to higher stages. And between a yogi fails, what happens? Right? The Krishna is giving answer to that. Or even the practice of devotional service, right? The devotee is performing devotional service, and if he's not fully at the platform that he can go back to Godhead, what happens to him? Right? So same answer is applicable even for that yogi. A yogi here is referring to both Astanga yogi and Bhakti yogi, right? That he starts from very left. Okay, are there any discussions before we go forward?
Hare Krishna, Madhupati Prabhu.
Yes, Oji.
Yeah, so my understanding is that the bhakti can be only done on earthly planet. Is that correct understanding, or
Yeah, the
can be
earth,
done?
well, it can be done anywhere, but somehow on this Bhumi Loka, it's a very favorable condition because it has a balance of pains and pleasures. Lower than the Bhumi Loka, highest planet, there's too much pain where it's very difficult to uh, think about the Supreme Lord when there's too much pain. And higher than the earthly planet, there's too much pleasure. And when you are in too much pleasure, too much sense gratification, it's too difficult for you to think about the Supreme Lord. So Earth kind of strikes, this Bhumi Loka strikes a balance between that pains and pleasures. That's why it's mentioned that you want to go back to Godhead from the heavenly planets. First of all, they took birth again to this Bhumi Loka in this Suchinam Simantam Gehe. Means hardly Nanette family or a aristocratic family before, and they start performing devotional service from where they had left, and again gets an opportunity to go back to Godhead. Is that all right? You have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Haribo, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any other discussion? Haribol. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have one question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Biman Prabhu.
Not related to the shloka, but general, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, if we get bad dreams, what is the, should not get the bad dreams, what I'm trying to understand, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
So, what do we need to do before
bad
sleeping?
dream. What is that?
I call to God before sleeping. I do, Narsim Dev Bhagwan's shloka I do, and then I chant to Lord Krishna also, do the Maha Mantra, and then go to bed. But still, I see the bad dream coming. So what do I do to do?
Yeah, continue chanting and thinking about the Supreme Lord.
Okay.
Many times we have seen that more you practice devotional service, right? More you practice devotional service, your dreams would also be of devotional service. Not always necessary, but more or less. Sometimes, like we'll see in a brahmachari ashram, or brahmacharis are throughout the day are involved in serving the Supreme Lord or distributing books. So even in the dream, they'll be thinking about distributing books, and sometimes you will hear dialogues between themselves and somebody else. while they are even at night, they somehow think about it like that. So in that um, sleeping stage, right, your body goes to the rest, but mind does not go to the rest. Right, mind is still thinking. So the previous conditioning of the mind, the previous perceptions of the mind, which are stored within the mind, kind of develops some kind of hypothetical situations, and then it kind of dreams like that. That hypothetical situations, there could be something, as you mentioned, some kind of nightmares also. Oh, we are right in the middle of the jungle, and right next to you there's a tiger. Hmm. Yeah, so those things happen. So to more we get rid of, as you mentioned, bad dreams is more practice of devotional service. More practice of devotional service continuously, and especially as you mentioned very rightly, chanting before sleeping and reading Krishna Katha before sleeping, or hearing Krishna Katha before sleeping. Right? You hear some kirtan and you go to sleep, or you hear some lecture and many times lecture will automatically make you fall asleep. Right? Even when you are not sleeping at night, even during the daytime, our devotees fall asleep when they hear lecture. To wake them up, we have to say Mahaprasada Govinda, and immediately they wake up. Right. So, yeah, but in general, those things are advised to us to keep away those bad thoughts, because while going to sleep, basically what are we doing? We are taking shelter of Maya Devi. Sleep is basically in mode of ignorance, the sleeping state, but you need that certain hours of sleep for your body. So you are surrendering at that particular time to Maya Devi. But so that it completely does not drag you away. You before going to sleep, especially some form of devotional service is recommended. Reading or chanting. So I would say continue reading and chanting, and ultimately those bad dreams will be changed into more devotional dreams.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Prabhuji, I have one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
If nobody has question.
No, go ahead.
So Prabhuji, when a person dies, right, the soul, we know the soul size is 1/10,000 tip of the hair, right? So when a person dies, the soul leaves the body immediately. Means what I'm trying to understand is how can we know the soul has left the body? Means just trying to understand that.
How can we know that the soul has left the body?
Yeah.
Symptom of soul within the body is consciousness. Right? The symptom of the soul within the body is consciousness. When the body is not conscious, not only unconscious state, but is not completely conscious, that's why we see that the heart rate is completely gone, straight line. You lift somebody's hand and it just falls down because that's no power. It's not conscious. the consciousness, otherwise it pervades the entire body, right? Through when the soul is there. But now all those parts have stopped working. Medical science tells us that even after the soul has left the body, there are the lifespan of different parts, different parts completely they dwindle fast, but it uh, certain parts of the body are still active. They are not completely dead because there is some form of still some consciousness there. It's not still completely dead, right? And heart has completely stopped, right? So heart is one which is completely stopped. I believe there are some hand, the soul is not pervading, the conscious is not pervading the hand, but certain parts, like we see somebody's head beheaded, and the head still having some life, right? Still not completely dead. Over a period of time becomes dead, still not completely dead. Or the lower organs still something is still there. That's why when a person who is cremated, they put those logs and everything on the body, so that during the fire, suddenly body, some parts does not become conscious. But the soul immediately leaves the body, and how we know that the soul has left is lack of consciousness, especially in the region of heart, because the soul is situated in the region of heart. That's why the first thing they check is the pulse and the heart rate that has stopped, to determine that the person is alive or not alive. Does that answer your question, Bhim?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Had any discussion on this? Or yep. Ramachandra is missing in action, so would ask questions and questions. That's good. Any other
Prabhuji,
discussions? Yes, go ahead.
Hare, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam. All
Ma'am.
glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I wanted to understand as and when we are making some progress, or if as practicing sadhakas, what is the level or what is the standard? Again, not coming from that space or place, how do I understand that if I'm making any progress, if I'm asking myself, or should I ask someone to know or to determine how are we making progress in the path? If you can throw some light on this, Prabhu.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Nice question. How do we know that we are making progress on this path of spiritual transcendental subjects? More we see that we are attracted on transcendental subject matters and attracted to devotional service, more introspectively we'll know, right? Oh, I'm fully attracted to just perform devotional service, but it is not by somebody telling me that, oh, I should do something. It is just willingly coming from my heart, and I'm able to devote myself completely in the service of the Lord. More I'm attracted to the Supreme Lord, and more I'm disattracted to material sense objects. He is a barometer to know whether what level of consciousness we are in. Right. And we all would know, okay, I have this wonderful morning time when I should chant the holy name of the Lord. And I'm just chanting the holy name of the Lord, and suddenly I find, oh, my mind being attracted to cricket, or this thing, or that thing, or I'm early in the morning, nicely chanting, but I need some, what about some kulfi early in the morning, or what about gulab jamun, what about this, what about that? Well, those are the urges. Those are the urges of our body, and we are being pulled by the urges of the body. So, are we allowing being pulled by the urges of the body, or are we allowing to restrain those allurements and focusing on our devotional service? That would uh, gauge our Krishna consciousness, right? That would gauge our Krishna consciousness. And does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Nice question. A nice discussion on that. Yeah, because it's a continuous struggle amidst us, especially as sadhakas, between spiritual practices and material allurements. And that's why this yogi is mentioned about, okay, whether he succumbs to the material allurements or continuously performs spiritual practice and does not fall. Yeah. So, very.
Prabhu, a follow-up to that is that is a thought is coming, like very many um, living entities, again, like us, we don't see them performing any devotional service per se, or maybe they are not even introduced to bhakti or the process of bhakti, but we see that their consciousness is clean and they are pure, probably having some material propensities, but still their consciousness, aside from performing devotional activities or services, are also good. So their their level of consciousness is better as compared to probably maybe practicing sadhakas. But how do we like qualify or understand those individuals, like we meet generally people who don't perform any devotional service, but we know that at heart maybe they are good people, and they have some material propensities, but that their consciousness is probably much better.
So, just like today's words in discussion, no, talks about it, right? Unsuccessful yogi takes birth in a learned family or a aristocratic family. Their level of consciousness as you mentioned, from the very birth, is good consciousness because they have prior practice. Right now, at that particular stage of good consciousness, their performance of bhakti, just like you have a dry wood and a wet wood, right? A dry wood is very easy to ignite fire, right? While a wet wood is not that easy to get the fire. So, that whose consciousness is, as you mentioned, no, very good. No, they're like dry wood. No, some contact or some contact comes. They may not be practicing right now, but they are very close to that. They come in contact with pure devotee. It's easy for them to take up the path from where they had left in the previous lives. While the other, which you mentioned about somehow some sadhakas who somehow they have gotten the mercy of a devotee, and still after getting the mercy of the devotee, they are not fully able to grasp that mercy of the devotee because the consciousness to begin with was always shaky. It's good that at least they have taken up something, but they have still remained shaky in the path of full performance of devotional service. But still, since they are performing the devotional service, at least in this particular life, they are in the better stage than that was whose consciousness is clean, but still has to get that spark to ignite his dry wood again. Right. Then they can make rapid progress. And that's why we see even in devotees' life, different devotees join. Some devotees advance rapidly, right? While some devotees for many, many lifetimes, they're practicing, but still it's a slow process because on the path, they still succumb to different material allurements. And some people, as soon as they came in contact, zoop, 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 fast, 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 super express, they start. We seen among devotees around us also. Someone on a very rapid path. Some are taking still a local train. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu. That
Yes.
helps a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, Mother. Any other discussion? We still have 5 minutes. In the same path, if you really want more rapid progress, always try to take association of those who are fully fired up in performing devotional service. Because association is key. Laya matra sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hoy. Even a fraction of a second. So what to speak of associating more and more. Now you associate with somebody who still materially allured. He will also like, okay, yeah, let's watch cricket today. Let's do this today. Let's do that today. Right. And you are in that shaky state. You say, oh, yeah, I do change my rounds, but okay, let's calculate again. Let's do this, let's do that. That's why regulated life is very important. And association of devotees is key. No matter what, I try to focus on my sadhana. In the association of devotees or without the association of devotees, always focus on my sadhana. If I'm associating with the devotees, I take full advantage of it. If I don't get the association, no. Get the association in form of hearing lectures of senior devotees or hearing kirtan. Always regulate your life more and more in devotional services. Advancement is much more quicker. Okay. Shameshwar Prabhu. So it seems like I left us.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hari Hari.
Sorry. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful lecture, wonderful discussion. Very nice.
Thank you to all the devotees for the nice discussion.
Yep. Sincere and genuine questions. There's a mood.
Yeah,
This itself shows the progress.
yeah. Artho jigyashu arthi jnani cha bharata sabha. Jigyashu, always curious and always knowing, trying to know more. That's always a good path, to be always curious. Always discuss. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Relish Krishna Katha, talking about Krishna, talking about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Okay.
If there is nothing else, then let's conclude.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the most auspicious day of Brahmotsav. It's beginning, starting at 7 o'clock. Everybody please join. Sunday is Lord Balram's appearance day. Balram ki jai.
Yeah.
And also morning, there is a Krishna Kadhamurda festival starting at 9 o'clock. His Holiness Jayadeva Maharaj is going to speak on Sunday morning. Everybody please join. These are the rare opportunities. Should be naturally attracted to hear Sravanam. Sarvanadi Shuddha Chitte Karahodai. By hearing only, it can purify our heart. So please join, everybody. Also evening, we have a Lord Balram's appearance day festival starting at 5 p.m. There is a Surya Vahan, then Guru Puja, also Puja and Guru Puja, then Gaura Arati, Kirtan and lecture. Very wonderful Abhishek, Abhishek. So please join, don't miss this. Next week is Krishna Janmashtami, Sri Krishna Janmashtami ki jai.
Jai.
And Srila Prabhupada appearance day on Tuesday. Sunday we have program, Monday we have program, also Tuesday we have. This is the 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Please everybody, there are a lot of service, and that's also, we should attract to the service. There is unconditional. Nobody should ask you, okay, can you do this service? But we should come forward and say that, Prabhuji, what can I do So that should be our mode. So it's this weekend, next weekend, lots of services. Please join and please contact. Lots of services. Thank you so much. Let's conclude here. Thank you for the wonderful class. Let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhasya
Vanchakalpatarubhasya
Vasandu
kripasindhubhavecha
Patidanam
patitanam
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Vaishnavrinda ki
Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Srila Prabhupada ki Nanda
Jai.
Kodi Vaishnavrinda ki
Jai.
Hari Hari
Hari Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari.
Bol. Thank you, Madhupati.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.